Yeah, I know. My wife did go to high school over there.
So we are live. The adventure recap really quickly is you are taking Seamus Holbein, who you rescued from the clutches of a mind flayer, but has had somewhat of a nervous breakdown and believes he is now called Daggerface, to the city of Montvert, where a door to a magical manor has been moved, and he is the only one who can physically open the door. You are currently traveling through the plains and you've come to the town of Timbercrest. There was a small mob outside the town, or a rather large mob outside the town, that immediately just assumed that Kajika was some sort of hobgoblin spy, as other hobgoblins had come and then had left again to go find a local witch. And as soon as they left, a plague began to strike the town and their water all spoiled. Lucirosi went into the town and figured out that there is indeed a plague of some sort, and people are legitimately sick. People's lives are in peril, and the water is definitely polluted with some demonic presence. You've all returned to, you went to a campsite outside of town because Kajika is not allowed in the town. But when you saw that a fire had started and was spreading within just to the north of the town, amongst several homes there, Lucirosi and everyone else sort of took off running. I don't recall actually if Kajika was following or not.
Yeah, I was just strolling in, taking my time.
So you are currently Lucirosi running to the town, everyone else more or less just moseying at a reasonable pace towards the fire.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, let's go get warm, guys.
So, Lucirosi, you arrive at the fire first. There are 4 houses that are burning. It's a pretty intense fire, so it will be hard to put out. A lot of people are running around. They seem entirely disorganized, though. It's not clear. This fire is not going to go out if these people are the ones to put it out, because they're not really doing anything useful at the moment.
So Lucirosi, being at the disadvantage of not being a firefighter, what does he see in the area? Are there any people that look semi-competent or anything that might be useful that I can see that would assist with this?
There are plenty of people who aren't completely panicked, but they're kind of standing around uncertain what to do. You don't necessarily see, like, there's no obvious water source in sight of you right next to the buildings to help put it out. You do know from having been here before that there are wells dotted around the city, although they're all filled with that polluted water.
Right. So then my first instinct would be to approach the closest person and somewhat demand, somewhat ask, is there anybody in those buildings?
I don't know. I think they may have been out. There was a group that was going to leave to find the witch. I don't think there was anyone in them. And give me a perception check. Okay. As you're talking to this person, you hear a beam or something cracks inside one of the houses, and you see it just folds in on itself, completely gone. It looks as if it's going to start, like, the houses are pretty close together. They're just small alleys between them. It is probably going to continue to spread until it covers this block.
So Lucirosi is going to start shouting, "Is everybody out? Is everybody out?"
It seems as if, from what you can tell, the people who are just sort of milling about, staring in horror, are probably a lot of the residents of those houses and nearby houses. But go ahead and give me another perception check. you can hear from one of the houses that just caught fire. There does sound like there's somebody screaming inside.
Okay. Is the entryway burning?
You could see that there's fire inside. The door itself doesn't appear to be on fire.
All right. Lucerosi is going to then run in.
Okay. You come to the door. It's locked. So give me an athletics check. And at this point, everyone...
Can I also bash it with Solacity?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I don't know if that'll add anything to it, but
I'm gonna start doffing my armor at this point.
I was going to say, everyone else arrives just as you see Lucerosi batters his way through the door of this burning building, running inside.
T-Hole just shakes his head.
And everybody give me perception checks.
including me.
No, you already made this one.
All right.
Perception.
Oh man.
Let me find it. Hold on. Here we go.
Kajika, are you rolling?
Is he walking slower than everybody else?
He's muted, so I don't know what he's doing.
Okay. Let's see here. Know how to play this game. Perception. Yeah.
Okay. Kajika, T-Hole, and Hellweir, you all hear, not T-Hole, sorry, Hellweir, Zarius, and Kajika. You hear like a high-pitched, it sounds like laughter coming from inside the burning buildings, but it's probably not human. It's too high-pitched and unnatural.
Okay.
And Lucerosi, you've banged your way through the door and are inside the burning house.
Yeah.
Give me an acrobatics check. Okay, as you come in, you can see there was fire right behind the door, but you are able to dodge to one side and avoid being burned by it. Now that the door is open, you can hear that there is the sound of what is probably an elderly woman coming from somewhere in this home.
Okay. So I'm going to shout out.
You roughly know where it is. It's on one side of the home, but there are there's 3 doors on that side, so you're not sure which one she might be behind.
Okay.
Can I reach Lucerosi right quick before he goes all the way in?
Sure.
Just approach him and touch him on his shoulder right as he goes to enter the house, and just take strength, and I'll cast enhance ability, and I'll give him bull strength. He has advantage on strength checks, and carrying capacity is doubled.
Oh,
okay.
Nice. All right, so I nod acknowledgement of thanks to Zarius, and then I continue shouting, I'm here to save you. Please call out to me so that I might find you.
You still just continue to hear screaming. It's fairly faint, but like I said, it's behind one of 3 doors across the room.
Okay. Since it's just a crapshoot, because there's nothing that I can tell that might indicate a stronger possibility towards one or another.
You could make a perception check. Try to figure it out.
Okay.
I just want to Van Damme these doors.
Gotta be careful with that when it's burning.
Yeah, you're pretty sure you're pretty sure you figured out which one it's coming from behind.
Okay, so I'm going to try to open that door. Well, Lucirosi wouldn't necessarily know the dynamics of fire, so he probably would open the door.
Okay. So the door is not locked. You open it up. You see, it appears to be a burning bedroom. You don't see anyone immediately, but what you do see is the bed itself is on fire, and silhouetted in the fire, you see a form of something that looks like a small-sized, even tiny-sized, clearly invisible humanoid that's just refracting the flames around it so that you can make out its form a little bit. And then you clearly...
Astros, what is this?
Then you clearly hear some little tittering laughter, and the screaming completely stops. Roll for initiative. Just Lucirosi. No, just
Lucirosi.
How's it going in there?
I gotta remember to click on my character first. So let's
Damn
do
it,
that.
pony boy.
I think I accidentally moved this little triangle on the map, by the way.
Alright, I think I've done it, so let's try it.
that's fine.
I only moved it a little bit, but it's still roughly there.
Yeah, I mean, you're at Timbercrest, so it's already marked clearly enough on the map. Okay, so you actually lose the initiative, but what you see happening is make me a dexterity save. So you're able to avoid it, but as this form jumps off the bed and is still invisible, the door frame above you catches fire and crashes down, but you're able to dodge out of the way before it hits you. Turning around again, though, you could see the fire has now expanded to the point where you don't think it's just the natural spread of the fire, but it's expanded, trapping you inside, completely blocking the doorway. You would have to leap through the fire again to get out.
Okay, so I'm gonna call out to Zarius. Zarius, watch out! There's some kind of fire fiend.
Okay.
And then, I mean, I don't see any other way out outside of the jumping through the flames, do I?
Any way you see to get out right now would require you to at least try jumping through fire.
Is there a window in there, man? You just jump through the
Well,
window? A lot of the walls are on fire.
I do have bull strength, and it's probably this fire is making the walls weaker. Could I try to bust through Kool-Aid Man style?
You absolutely could try to bust through a wall Kool-Aid Man style. I'm not saying it is without risk. As you're in a burning building.
I'm willing to do it. Well, how sure is Lucirosi that there are actually no people here in the building?
Since the screaming stopped, I mean, you've only basically checked one room. You suspect, I would assume you suspect from what you've seen, that the screaming was a trick.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay.
Pretty sure.
Okay, Kool-Aid Man it is.
Oh, yeah.
So you get
have
a good.
advantage.
You have advantage. So you get a good running start and leap into the wall and bang into the wall and don't injure yourself, but the otherwise pretty thick wooden walls don't just crumble on a 17.
Oh no!
Hear a bang.
Right, you outside can't quite hear a bang because the sound of the fire is pretty loud, but you swore you see a small crack appear.
Do I see any creature run
You
away,
don't-
or
You don't see anything run out of the building.
I'm peering inside. I was attempting to keep an eye on him, so just not entering the building. But
Okay, then give me a perception check.
sure. Perception. Hey, all right.
So while you were watching, as he opened the door to the bedroom, you could see a line of fire just form coming from the far wall over, blocking off the door. It's not clear what the source of that was, but it was clearly an unnatural movement of the fire.
I mean, do I suspect a potential spell work here, or?
It seems as if it's probably a magical effect of some sort, but it's not a spell.
Okay, so I do not suspect that a dispel magic would stop it.
No, probably not.
I even have it prepared. Yeah, I do, but oh well. Okay, well, I'll just keep an eye out. I guess if I heard the screaming, then it just suddenly stopped, though, right? And then
Yes.
this fire began to spread.
Yep.
I'll keep an eye out. If I see anything suspicious, I will probably just cast something at it.
So then you saw Lucirosi come out of that room after a beam almost fell on his head. He then turned and launched himself towards a wall. You're not exactly sure why.
You said that the way was blocked with fire.
Right. But well, I mean, you're not exactly sure why, because you didn't see him actually hit the wall, as the angle was such that he looked like he was just running at the wall, but then disappeared from sight. So you're still inside this building. Give me an intelligence check or investigation. Zarius can do this too.
Investigation.
Oh, I thought you were talking to Zarius.
No, you and Zarius can both do it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not very smart. Yep.
Lucirosi, you imagine this whole place, like the entire floor you're standing on, is probably going to go up in a round or two.
Okay. So I'm going to shout to Zarius. This building is about to collapse, and still watch out for the fire fiend. There's something here. This magic is this fire is not natural.
Remove yourself from the house.
If I have the opportunity, I will try to run at the door or the wall again.
Okay, you can do either one. You're probably going to get a little burned if you run through the door or dive out a window, but the wall is still currently not on fire.
I mean, with Zarius and knowing that the building is about to collapse, I don't want to collapse the building in on him. So
I'm standing just outside the door.
the building probably won't collapse in the next round or two. It's just that the entire floor space is going to be on fire. Then you're definitely taking fire damage.
Okay. I mean, Kool-Aid Man.
Once again, you bang into the wall, and this
I
time
am willing to use an action point for this.
Okay. To roll again, or
You make your head a little harder.
No, if I can use an action point to just make it happen, but if not, I don't want to roll again.
Okay, I will let you use an action point to you run at the wall, and although probably the wall should have been sturdy enough to stop you, you apply all of your mental energy and force to the blow, swinging with thoughts and prayers as you go. You crash through the wall. 2 fists come through the wall, followed by your head, as the wall crumbles out in front of you. And you step out into the street again. Smoke begins to pour immediately out of the hole you've created. And you look back as you see the floor just sort of is completely washed over in flames at this point.
All right, so I know Zarius is there. Are any of the others there now?
I don't know where Kajika is. He might be around. I know T-Hole and Hellweir are standing off to the side.
Okay.
Okay. Meanwhile, while this was happening, is anybody else doing anything?
T-Hole's gonna see if is it only this building burning? Are the surrounding buildings burning?
There are currently 4 houses that are on fire, but like I said, there's a block of homes, and the alleys between them are only like 2 or 3 feet wide. The thatch roofs hang over. So you imagine just looking at it, it seems obvious that the fire is going to continue to jump from house to house, at least until it gets the whole block. Now, maybe the fire could jump if an ember floats off and moves into another thatch roof. It could start a fire on another block.
I see.
But it will probably wind up catching about 8 houses on this block before there might be a break in the fire.
Gotcha. So we just can't set the whole block on fire.
If there'd be a risk to it, but you could try to create a fire break by setting the whole block on fire. The problem is, how do you control embers floating away as the hay on the roof begins to burn? I would say there is definitely a skill check appropriate to that. That's not like, are you proficient in firefighting? But but there's also a risk to trying it. That said, this whole block might go up anyway.
So I'm gonna cast Detect Magic to see if I notice anything magical about this fire.
Okay. How close are you standing to the buildings? It's 30 feet is the range, right?
Yeah, I would probably be as close as I can get and still try to feel something. So maybe like 15 feet away.
Okay. In one of the buildings, you don't detect that the fire itself is inherently magical. But in one of the buildings, you definitely detect a magical aura.
Is it the building that Lucirosi went into?
I assume not. I assume you're near one of the other buildings.
Okay. Is that building on fire?
Yes, the building there, you sense the aura. The aura is coming from within the burning building.
Is it like seriously burning, or is it?
This one is completely in flames. There's no chance there's anything living in the building you're in front of now. Nothing that's not immune to fire, at least.
Oh. T-Hole wouldn't go into there just on the off chance that there might be something useful. So I guess he'd kind of go. He would go to where Lucirosi went in and walk up and be like, "You guys need any help?"
Yeah, as you're moving, you do sense. I forget actually how detect magic works in this edition, but you do sense that there are other magical auras in the different burning buildings.
You sense the presence of magic. You can use your action to see a faint aura around any visible creature in that area that bears magic, and you learn at school of magic, if any.
Okay. It used to be like it took like you to concentrate on it for a number of rounds to pinpoint it, but it doesn't sound like they retained that. So I'm sort of remembering 3.5 a little bit. But yeah, so as you move, you detect magical auras in at least 2 of the burning buildings that you pass by. And the second one you came near has 3 different magical auras inside it.
I'm going to try to concentrate on one of them to see if I can ascertain what school of magic it might be from.
What you're detecting is clearly illusion.
Is that for one of the items or for all 3?
As you concentrate on each of them, all of these auras you seem to be detecting are illusion.
Do I see? So Helber and Kajik are outside. Tacitus went inside. So did Lucirosi.
Tacitus isn't in this game.
I'm sorry.
Well, Lucirosi's out now.
Yeah, Lucirosi. Yeah, you're detecting these auras.
This was happening while you guys were. So like this is kind of like the meanwhile.
Right. And so as you approach Zarius, you see the wall burst open as 2 fists come out, and then the rest of the wall is just head-butted down.
Oh, yeah.
There's a door.
There happen to be flames in front of it.
Well, I guess walls work just as well.
There's some kind of creature. It's hard to see, but it's causing these fires.
I sense illusion magic emanating from many of these houses.
Illusory magic. It might be masking itself somehow.
If he is invisible, yes.
We need to make sure that these homes are evacuated and try to find this thing before the fire spread even further.
Is this something Set Mama Dodi would do? Does this look like his handiwork?
Give me a religion check.
Okay, yeah, good old religion check.
You would say probably not. There's just not a lot of cause to burn down what amounts to peasants' homes. If the whole place were on fire, the whole entire town, maybe.
Okay.
But a couple of homes and just letting the fire spread, that's not showy enough.
Okay, so that will. All right, so I look at some of these peasants who are, I guess, standing around watching this place go up in flames. And are there any water troughs around or anything?
There's probably like a horse trough somewhere nearby, but not a substantial amount of water.
Okay. So I say, well, you probably want to get some buckets and throw some water on these roofs of these other houses that ain't on fire so the whole place don't burn down.
So you say that. Give me a persuasion check.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Good old persuasion. Oh, wow.
All right.
So
But you had disadvantage, but no.
So you walk up to this man who's sort of clutching onto who you presume is his wife, and he looks over at you and just sort of nods and goes, "Yeah, that's a good idea." And then he immediately turns and starts walking off, and then starts yelling at people who he seems to know. Say, "Get buckets! Get to the well!" And they all run off. They appear to be somewhat more focused now on trying to put out the fire.
I really hope that doesn't end up doing more harm than good with the demon-tainted well water. That certainly won't come back to bite us in the ass.
When did we learn of that demon water? Exactly.
Actually, did Lucirosi, did you tell them about the demon tainted water?
Yeah, I would have let them know, especially because they were so indifferent to helping these people. I would have hoped that it would have appealed to their, charitable hearts
Not a one among us.
So, yeah, some of you may remember that when Lucirosi returned to the camp, he was blathering on about something.
So was that today in game?
Yes.
Today.
It was less than 20 minutes ago.
All right. Well, I didn't have enough time then to prepare a spell to fix the water.
How long is the detect magic last?
10 minutes.
Like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
By the looks of it, it sounds like one of those damn elf fairies are around here.
So it is probably going to take the guy who's organizing the bucket brigade. It is probably going to take him at least several minutes to begin to actually throw water on this fire. And this fire, to be fair, is probably beyond people throwing buckets of water at a time on it.
Well, I just, I told him to put them on houses that aren't on fire, so maybe that might save those ones.
Yeah, that might work.
I mean, they could sit there and watch it burn or actually do something.
Yep.
They could.
They could.
Whatever makes them feel better.
So after Kajika stepped in, you actually don't see there are a few women who are around tending to children, but otherwise, most of the people who are kind of just staring in horror have jumped into trying to help out with whatever it is they're doing with the well water. And we will see if it turns out that the well water is now flammable.
Also, Lucirosi, after he busted through the wall with Zarius, and he mentioned the creature, what do I sense any magic coming from that house?
You briefly sense 2 magical auras inside the house, which is now, especially with the extra hole in the side of it and the air getting into it, completely in flames. But the auras start to fade shortly after you detect them.
Was it, can I get a sense, do I know if it was the same sort of aura that I felt in the other houses?
They're both illusion.
Okay.
There's a faint bit of transmutation on Lucirosi at the moment.
Yeah. All right. So Lucirosi will say, recommend, hey, we really need to split up to try and find these things that are causing these fires. I'm certain that they're going to be jumping from home to home trying to set more ablaze.
We should round everybody up and get them out of the houses.
Yes, we should do that as well.
The homes might be beyond saving at this point. It would be better to focus on the townspeople. And that way, if we can clear a section of the block, we may be able to create a fire brigade and just burn the rest down ourselves.
Who has the best? Well, unfortunately,
proficiency.
No, unfortunately, Hellweir probably has the best tracking skills of the group. So Lucirosi will say, "All right, let's do our best to make sure that these other homes are evacuated. Hellweir, can you try and find the fire fiend?"
I just grunt and I look around and I start moving from house to house, I guess.
You might want to take T-Hole with you and use his magic abilities. Maybe he can detect it.
Yes. Come with me. And I just back into him and start moving along.
All right, Hellweir, let's do this.
What's
Zarius,
So-
Kajika, will you join me?
What do you plan to do?
We need to go to the homes that are not burning yet and make sure that they are free of any potential victims of these fires. We need to make sure these people are safe. Homes can be rebuilt. Lives are much more difficult to restore.
People do not tend to trust me.
You're one to talk.
Well, do the best we can. Scare them out of their homes if you need to, but we need to move quickly.
Oh, well.
Okay, so first, T-Hole and Hellweir, what are you doing to try to find the creatures?
So Teal's gonna reach out to find one of the buildings that had illusory magic.
So the building that Lucerosi just busted out of doesn't seem to have them anymore. The one that you walk past adjacent to it now seems to have four separate auras in it.
Can I tell if they're moving?
Give me your perception check. You're certain that they're moving.
And I point to this house. I'm like, there are 4 things moving in here. 4 illusions.
And this house is like super on fire, isn't it?
Yes.
Bring
So
that shit down on them.
There's only one thing to do. So I'm gonna go walk up to the house and cast Thunderwave on the house.
Okay. Give me. Let me see what the damage is.
You need shatter. That's what you need.
That's if only, man. I could use some more spells, to be honest.
Are you wizard or sorcerer?
Wizard.
And if I get like any, at the same time, if I get any like sort of sight or anything on them, I want to do Hunter's Mark on them as well.
Right. That's why I was sort of. What is while he finds the spell? What is your? What are you doing to try to find them?
I would sort of like if he's just said it's in this building and he's planning on thunder waving it. Well, I'm expecting something to happen, and in that case, I'm going to cast Hunter's Mark on whatever appears, I guess.
So I cast at level 2.
Wow, we're rolling a whole lot of high numbers there, man.
I'm getting them all out now so I can get some ones later.
So you cast Thunderwave on the house. You hear there is a decided crack, and the house leans in the direction of the wave, pressing up against the house right next to it, which is already on fire. It doesn't, however, completely collapse.
Ha! What a waste.
It's clear that if you had done a little more damage, like another point, it would have collapsed in.
Does it look like there's like a weak spot? Like now that we kind of shifted it, does it look like there's like a beam or something kind of within reach that we could attack and kind of to further destabilize it?
There absolutely is. If you attacked it basically at a corner, it might cause it to collapse in. Thunderwave was a good choice because even better maybe than Shatter, because Shatter would have broken it out and some of it might have blown back on you. Thunderwave pushed it away from you and in towards the center of the block, basically. But if you're just smashing on like the corner beam to try to bring it down, there might be some embers and burning wood that hits the person hitting the building.
Well, I'm gonna hit it anyway.
That a boy.
Yeah. So
Oh.
can I just whack it with like a foot?
Sure.
Just boot it down. Sweet. Just athletics.
Give me, yeah. So you bring your foot down on this beam, trying to crack it. It immediately cracks through. Give me a dexterity save.
Your foot gets stuck.
Oh,
Yeah.
it definitely does.
No, if it were 1, I might consider your foot gets stuck. But you stick your foot in. Let me see. You take fire shoots up your leg, and you take 4 points of fire damage, and your boot is solidly on fire.
I'm also resistant to fire. Does that mean I take 2?
Yes, it means you take 2.
Sorry, why is there a tarot deck on the screen?
Oh, that I don't know what you're talking about. Now, that's none of your business, sir. So as your boot is on fire, you see the beam cracks. That corner begins to tumble in, causing some fire damage to you. But then, like dominoes, you hear a bunch of cracks inside as the entire structure collapses inward. Let's see. And you do hear a bunch of very high-pitched, annoyed yelps.
Do I notice, like, as the house has now collapsed, do I notice that those boars are moving? Or they moved away, or where they went?
Give me another perception check.
Can I do the same? Because I wanted to hit him with that hunter's mark. And if I can't see them, well,
Yeah,
perception.
right. So Heller, you're not you can still hear the yelps as the building collapsed, but you're not 100% sure where within the structure they were.
Sure.
T-Hole, you feel 2 of the auras wink out. The other 2 you feel as they move and seem to, almost as if they somehow made it through the rubble, shifted into another one of the burning homes. And you could sort of feel it as they slip past the range of the detect magic in the direction of the other home.
Magical
Gotcha.
whack-a-mole.
So, I say to her, looks like 2 of them disappeared, but the other 2 just went out of my out of range, so they must be in the next building on the other side.
And both of you make me an intelligence check. Investigation is fine if you're proficient. T-Hole, you recognize now that the building's been more or less leveled. It's still a pile of burning thatch and wood, but since it's at a lower level, it's probably less likely that something is going to jump off of this particular building and land on the roof of a building on another block, because it's got to go up higher and over. And it's also probably easier if someone were to dump water on this thatch to help damp the fire down a bit. Because the thatch is really what's creating the risk of embers that will hit other blocks, more so than the wood.
If only we had a druid with control weather.
Or a storm cleric.
Yes.
So, it's like, I'll like turn around, and do I see Kajika still?
Well, we'll go over to see what they're doing at this point. So you guys were going to go try to clear the other homes.
Yeah. So probably working to try and prioritize the ones that are closest, that are most in the danger of catching fire.
Right. So going to the other 4 homes on this block, a woman stops you and says, "No, we've cleared all those people out. There should be no one left in there."
Insight.
Oh.
You can roll insight. She's being honest that she doesn't think there's anyone else inside.
Okay. Just making sure there's not somebody who's trying to get people killed.
That's fair.
So Lucirosi will say, "Good. Make sure that everybody steers clear of here because this fire is likely to spread."
Okay. And she takes 3 children that she seems to be looking after and keeps pushing them back across the road away from the fire.
I'll look up and just try and see if I can determine which way the wind is blowing. Like go to the houses in that direction.
Okay. The wind is actually pretty light, and so it's a little hard. It takes you a moment or two to orient yourself, given that there's just air circulating around these fires, but it appears as though the wind is blowing to the north. So you go in that direction.
I would suggest that, yeah.
All right. Kajika, help Zarius. Continue to keep a lookout. I'm going to take to the sky and see if I find any where this is going to happen next, or even get a glance at these creatures that are spreading the flames.
Hold on just a second.
I wish there were some flames. I mean, not my house in flames, but maybe like a fire or something.
A hobo fire.
I can go for that.
I have a fireplace right here next to me.
Does it work?
Yeah. But you know where all the wood is? Out
Frozen.
fucking inside.
Outside.
Yeah.
Frozen.
Yeah, I ain't touching. I ain't going out there.
You know, all you really need is one of those metal drums, the garbage cans.
Yeah.
And then, you know, whatever you don't care about or looking to get rid of.
Yeah, throw your plastic in it.
Right.
Breathe
Yeah.
it in.
Sorry, I'm back. What was Lucirosi doing?
So Lucirosi was going to use his Radiant Soul ability to grow wings and fly above the buildings to see if he can't see where the flames are about to kindle more houses, or even to try and catch a glimpse of whatever that might be causing the fire.
Okay. So you're flying overhead. You can see the 8 houses are arranged essentially just in a square. You would guess it's actually pretty random. You do see one house has a burning ember, a piece of thatch that has blown over risen up in the heat of the flames itself and then been deposited on a roof. So it looks like it could ignite the thatch of that roof. The thatch itself is already a little wet because there was snow on it, although that snow has begun to melt. So it's hard to say whether or not this one little piece of burning straw is going to ignite the whole roof. But it's a risk. It seems as if this is how maybe initially it's possible 1 or 2 homes were on fire and an extra one caught on fire this way with this thatch blowing around and the breeze.
So can I swoop down and try and grab this burning thatch and toss it aside?
Urinate on it.
Yes, you can swoop down or urinate on it.
My armor is sure to get in the way of urination. I don't have a bumblebee like thing to just.
I just assume maybe your armor. I assume like Petrie's armor must have like a drain hole in the foot, so maybe it's got that. But yeah, you could swoop down. It's not even a check because it's not close to the fire or anything else. It would just take some movement to move down and grab it.
All right, and then while I'm doing that, I'm going to also be trying to keep the other places in my peripheral and maybe even use my corruption sense to see if maybe these things are more demonic presence similar to the well. That might be helpful in trying to find these things.
What's the range on your divine sense? Yeah, so 60 feet, you were able to detect 4 corrupt presences in the burning buildings.
Okay.
You can't necessarily pinpoint them, but you're sure that they're there below you.
Okay. And they're the ones that are most on fire.
Yes.
All right. All right. These buildings are already burning. They're already likely lost. So what Lucirosi would do he would just kind of fly overhead within range and prepare to swoop in if any of these auras of corruption tried to hop to a different building.
Okay. Give me a perception check.
I can do that.
So you know that they're there, but like I said, you can't exactly pinpoint them. So as they move, they might be able to cover, because it's like I said, there's a short alley between these buildings, at least on the same block. The roofs partially cover the alley itself. They might be able to dart between these buildings, especially if they're invisible, and you wouldn't notice it until they were in another building.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but can I? Does it look like there's a couple of specific possibilities about buildings that are closest to the ones that are burning?
Well, there's the 4 that are on the same block that probably will eventually go up anyway. As for any of the buildings that are on the 4 immediately adjacent blocks are the most likely to go up next. I mean, the 2 blocks that are adjacent to the 4 buildings that are already on fire are probably the most likely to go up. If the creatures moved invisibly through those, I would say you probably could detect that they were moving. But at the moment, they're not doing that. If they're basically just hopping around the same buildings on this block, that's when it will be hard for you to detect them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But right at this moment, you don't detect them leaving the buildings that are already on fire. What are Zarius and Kajika doing?
I mean,
Lucirosi has sprouted wings and has taken off flying over the fires.
I'm just covering Zarius as he goes up to the doors just to check, or whatever he does. Just
let's hobble over to the houses to the north, I guess, and then peek inside if there's windows to see if there's anybody in there. Otherwise, I won't bother with the house if there doesn't appear to be anybody in there.
Right. These houses are too poor to have glass windows, so the windows are closed with shutters.
Okay.
So you can peer sort of between the pieces of the shutter. Are you checking the other buildings on the block, or are you checking buildings on the next block?
I mean, are the other ones that are on the block, are they on fire yet?
No, the other 4 are not yet.
Yeah, I'll confirm that they're not.
Okay. So you go from house to house checking, looking through the shuttered windows. I mean, if you wanted to, you could open the shutters. They're not super secure.
I have no problem doing that.
Okay. So you basically are just sort of, most of them are latched in some way or other, but they're cheap little metal latches. So you basically just sort of pop the screws out of these little wooden planks that are covering the windows and look in, but none of the other 4 homes on the block appear to have anyone inside that you can see.
All right. And I'm not I don't see any potentially invisible. Notice any potentially invisible creatures?
No, there's no sign of invisible creatures in these.
Alrighty. Yeah, I doubt I have any items that might help. No, I need like a bag of flour or something. Yeah, so I'll just go to the buildings, I guess, that are potentially next if the wind keeps blowing to the north.
Okay.
And yeah.
And these do seem as if they still have people inside.
Yeah, I'll just knock on their doors.
The shutters on these tend to be open. Like you can tell that there are people inside because people are sort of staring out the windows and out the open doors at the fires raging across the street.
Oh, okay. All right, perfect. I'll just, as I approach the people in the windows, I just look at them. Get out of here. Your home might be next. And let's move on.
So give me a persuasion check.
Can I give him advantage because I'm standing like in the road behind him and with my scatter gun in my hand?
This might be an intimidation check.
Yeah, that would help with intimidation. If you want to intimidate them out, sure.
I mean, that's basically what I'm doing here.
Whatever works.
I know people aren't going to listen to me otherwise, so I'll try it. Hey, all right.
So yeah, the guy begins that you threaten basically turns and says, "Everybody, just get your warm clothes." And he's gathering up his family to try to get out of the house.
Get everyone else on this block.
Yes, sir.
Don't worry about getting too warm clothes. You can always stand by the fire of the other houses that are burning.
I think our job is done. Let us return.
I also imagine that as I'm flying is when I see T-Hole knock a building over.
Yeah, it's at about this point that you see, all of you see a building collapse. Some of you see that it was in fact T-Hole who kicked the building over. To be fair, the whole building shifted, and there was a blast of thunder immediately prior to that.
What? Who is this? Tacitus? No. Making all that noise.
So back to T-Hole and sorry, Hellware. What are you doing next?
Shall we follow them?
Yeah. Yeah. And we just keep moving. Go to the next house, I guess.
So like beyond, so like where those creatures went was like the house behind it. So we'd have to kind of go around.
Well, it's a block, and they're sort of arranged around the edges of this block. So, basically, it's just you have to go down a different street than you were just on.
Okay. So we would go there, I guess.
So as you get there, you realize you sense 3 of the auras in the building.
Damn it! They just keep coming up.
I'm gonna bash the door down.
Okay, this building is also is also engulfed in flames. So you could kick the door through, certainly, but the place is clearly on fire, including the door.
I just shrug. Everyone's going to die. We should get out of here.
Well, I mean, we should at least try to help them. So I'm gonna cast another thunder wave.
Okay,
So
so
see if I can continue to knock this one down.
okay, so roll damage.
And I'll do this again at 3rd level. Or 2nd level.
Oh.
So shit, extra damage.
This time, however, as you cast the spell, the building again tips in, but then completely collapses under its own weight, and the fire sort of erupts up, and you see sparks fly into the air. And inside again, you hear more screams, very high pitched and chittering sounds.
Do I sense any reduction in the number of forms?
Yes, this time you actually you don't sense any more of the auras inside the building.
I turn to Hellware. I'm like, ha! That took care of them.
Good. They're all dead. Are we done here?
I suppose we should find the others.
Well,
They would be interested to know of our success.
you would see Lucerosi this like up flying above you, staring in judgment.
Well, that depends, because I may not be looking up.
Oh, it seems like one of the fairies.
Well, I mean, the way it would happen is you thunder wave the building down because you're on the street, like right in front of the building. Initially, you don't see the judgy look of Lucerosi bearing down on you, but as the building collapses that way, suddenly the flying Asimar comes into view, probably with his arms on his hips, just staring.
And, it's like, we just killed 4 of them. How about you?
As I'm using this divine sense, do I notice any changes in the auras or anything?
Yeah, you feel as the buildings are collapsing, those 2 buildings in particular, the auras that were within them have winked out. There appears to be only 1 left in a remaining burning building.
Okay. So I'm gonna call down to T-Hole and say, I disapprove of your methods, but it's been effective. There's only 1 left that I can see, and I'll point to the building.
And Lucerosi, you can also make an investigation check. Okay, never mind. So where do you want to go next? The building that's immediately adjacent to this one isn't currently on fire. So you've knocked down 2. There are 2 burning buildings on the other side, but you've moved in the direction of one of the houses that's not yet caught fire.
Where is the which house has the aura in it?
Right now, you don't detect any. Lucirosi detects one.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I pointed to
Okay.
where I saw it.
Yeah, so it is essentially back the way you came, in the building next to the one where Lucirosi punched out the walls.
Oh, okay.
Is this one super on fire as well?
Yes. There's 2 buildings that are still intact. Both of them are really heavily on fire.
Okay. I try to kick it down again.
Okay. So this time, make me an attack roll.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because
just like
you were attacking a pretty weakened structure last time.
There we go.
You hit it pretty solidly. It doesn't come down, however, after that punch. You crack a beam on the outside of it, and make me a dexterity save. As you do it, some fire from the roof above comes down on you, and you partially get out of its way, but you still take technically 5 fire damage, but because of your fire resistance, you only take 2. The building, however, is still intact. It will take a couple more blows like that to knock it down.
It's made of wood, yeah.
Yep.
Can I just hit a beam with my axe? Will that work too?
That would also work.
Yeah, I'll do that.
And when you hit it this time, you manage to break through the beam, and the building collapses, and another shower of sparks flies into the air.
Oh, good. They're all dead. All the buildings are dead. Good work.
So T-Hole sees, and I presume everybody else does, but he sees Hellweir punch the building and then pull out his axe. So T-Hole's like, he kind of looks and sees this. He's like,
Oh, I'm sorry. I actually forgot. Were you actually taking some opportunity to put your boot out? Because your boot was on fire.
Oh yeah, I would have trying to head over to the next building kind of thing. There was a lot of time I was just standing there looking at T-holes. So. So do I have to do any sort of check? Or?
No. You could just have used an action to put your boot out.
Yeah.
So 3 of the 4 burning buildings are now basically leveled. They're still on fire, but now it's obvious that the risk of other buildings catching on fire is going down precipitously as these buildings are being raised. So there is still 1 burning building that is threatening to catch other buildings on fire.
did the form that was in this building that we just leveled, do I still sense it?
Actually,
I didn't sense it before, but assuming that how
once you got closer, you did sense the aura of illusion. It does seem to have survived the collapse of this building and moved back into the building where Lucirosi was in previously.
Well, it looks like we have one more.
And Lucirosi, give me a perception check. Yeah, you know that it jumped between the buildings, but you didn't catch it at that precise moment, so you didn't actually see it move. But you now you're sure it's in the building that you were in.
So I'm gonna get Teal's attention, make sure he knows that I'm going to point. It's in that one.
You got this. Unless you want me to do my magic.
Whatever you're doing, it's effective.
It's
Cut
time
it
to
off.
kill.
Get in front of it.
It's time to kill the mighty building. Oh.
So I guess I'll walk up to the building, presumably on a side that's not facing towards the party, and I'll cast just a level 1 Thunder Wave.
Okay, first, everybody can roll initiative for me.
Will I get another natural one on
we have to
this?
click on our characters or whatever.
Yeah, click on your characters to make sure it turns up in the turn order.
Where
Where is my character? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let me find something to double for this.
Ooh.
Okay, this will do.
That's cool.
Is this like a run-of-the-mill town that comes with Roll20?
I don't remember where I got this map.
All right, I clicked on my character first, and it still didn't go in there.
Maybe you didn't click hard enough.
Probably actually doesn't really matter. Not sure this thing will last long enough for Lucia Rossi's 9 to be effective.
Well, it was originally 14, but I re-rolled it, thinking, oh, I'll click on my character this time.
I'll give you the 14 then. Hold on just a second. Let me get this thing.
Oh, yeah, we had Daggerface there, too. Forgot about him.
Daggerface. Runs straight through the burning building.
I like how you described it as somewhat of a psychotic break. just somewhat.
So, T-Hole, you do get to go first.
Perfect. So I will continue with my action of casting Thunderwave at the building.
Okay, so roll me damage.
It's not bad.
It's dead. Combat's over.
So, no, they don't automatically die when you collapse a building. So, you collapse the building on it immediately, just is completely leveled. But as it begins to fall, you feel the illusion aura begin to vanish. And from the rubble, before it can completely trap the thing, you see a red winged demon fly out of the building and is bearing down on the party. And it's its turn. And you're in front, so it's going to go after you. But it missed. So there's this little thing flying in the air in front of you that's just appeared, previously invisible. Hellware.
Yeah, I would march up and just chop its head off. And hit it with a greatsword.
And that is exactly what you do. It, hovering in the air, trying to dodge the blow, you manage to nonetheless pick it off right at the neck. And you see its little head goes flying into the street. No bigger than a cat's head.
Stupid fairies.
Imps.
Yeah, Hellware's not dumb. Technically, it is probably not technically an imp either, but I used a little imp figure for it.
Behaves like an imp.
Did we recognize what this was?
Give me a religion. Give me a religion check.
Religion. I'm losing my religion.
Yeah. T-hole, you are aware that there are different varieties of quasit, but it was a kind of quasit. And very much like Kolrazog, you could see that the body of this thing begins to sort of bubble as it hits the ground. And it appears to be dissolving like it's been dipped in acid.
What's a quasit?
A quasit is a very low-level, small demon.
So, I look at this thing and I spit on its uncat. I spit on its bubbling body and say, small demon filth. There must be a bigger one around here somewhere. I don't suppose that there's another area of the town where we might find something else going on.
Well, in fact, yes. As I mentioned, there's some kind of demonic presence that has corrupted the well, poisoning it. This gives credence to something targeting this town.
I wonder what they would want with this town.
Well, the townsfolk when we entered did mention some kind of hag or witch that had cursed them. Perhaps they weren't just rambling fools.
Well, the last group of people who said that there was a witch among them, or a bad person, we didn't necessarily believe, and it turned out they were right. So maybe we could be played fools again. We won't be played fools this time. Hold on a second, guys.
And maybe this time Kachiko will be thrown in jail and not myself.
Well, ideally, let's avoid anybody being thrown in the stockade.
And Daggerface says, well, if they were right about the witch, then they'll be okay because a whole huge crowd of them went to kill her and they had garlic.
Oh, boy.
We should probably follow them, or they will likely all die.
If it is right, and if they are going to face the source of this, it could be troublesome.
Are the townsfolk gathered yet to get rid of the fires, by the way?
You do see that the people have lined up and they're handing buckets from a nearby well. And they begin to throw water onto the roofs of the collapsed buildings. When it doesn't immediately flare up like they're throwing alcohol on it. So that's good.
So looking at that, back at that, I kind of turn to the group and say, if we leave to face this threat and join the rest of the townspeople against the hag, there's a possibility that these things may continue here in the town.
Are there any more?
Any more what?
Do you sense any more?
Do I?
Let me see.
So Lucirosi looks around.
Right. I'm just seeing whether or not divine sense is it just an action and you detect once, or does it
It's usually
persist?
for a round, yeah.
Oh.
You'll have to use it again.
Okay.
I was treating it like detect magic, and it just occurred to me that it's not that way.
Yeah, that's the way that I thought of it. Yeah, until the end of your next turn. Okay, so, I'll assume that I had used another one above while I was flying.
Right.
So I
using
got
another one,
more.
using another one, you don't detect anything within 60 feet
Okay.
of you.
Okay. No, I don't see any others, but I know that the well is corrupted. I've healed those that were most in need of care. But still, who knows what other threats may lurk about.
Well, in
Removing
any
the
case,
source should help
Huh?
to removing the source should help to eliminate the effects. It'll make it easier.
Daggerface, would you be able to remain behind and watch over this town?
I will defend the town, yes.
That's a colossal bad idea on your part. We need this guy. He's got to come with us.
No. You see, we need him, and bringing him into battle with something that we know nothing about may be the more hazardous choice.
You're going to leave him alone in a town, and we return, and suddenly he's gone, and I ain't chasing this some bitch again.
Leave T-Hole with him.
no. I,
How about Hellweir?
Yeah, how about hell? We're here. You have to leave soon.
exactly. I've been waiting for my
I mixed up my names. Sorry. You all.
How about we
like
leave?
me.
How about we leave T-Hole with him because T-Hole left the room for a moment.
You all look the same to me.
Yeah. So Hell would nominate himself. He would declare that the simpletons wouldn't know how to deal with fire anyway, so he would hang around and do that. So in any case, I got to bounce.
Although,
Perfect
wait,
timing.
just before you go, Lucirosi, make me a perception check. This is related to Hellware. So you notice in watching Hellware for some reason punch and kick burning buildings that he isn't as burned as he should be by fire.
One more notch in Lucirosi's jealousy.
Hey, don't worry, I got a cool tattoo of you on my hands.
Which Lucirosi's just like, what is going on here?
Bye bye.
So we're missing two people. Maybe it's good to take a break right now.
Yeah, sure. Let's take a bathroom break and come back in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So since we don't have T-Hole with us, might as well push forward with 3 and see when he turns up. No telling. I assume it's a work call, so there's no telling how long it's going to take him to get done with it.
Yeah.
So you proceed to set out to the north. You were already on the outskirts of the town. The crowd, the people who were in the camp went off to the northwest, so you start heading off in that direction. Luckily, I think Zarius is pretty proficient in survival. So
yeah, I was just thinking, shit, we lost the one person that can't get us lost.
I am too. So
I have a +7.
I don't
right.
have.
He is the one. Luckily, it's finding your way back to town probably not so hard, unless you get very unlucky. But tracking people at night is a little bit more difficult. He might be slightly better at that, but Zarius is pretty proficient in it. So make a survival check. You can make it with advantage since you have help from Kajika.
Hey, all right.
Thank God for that advantage.
Yeah.
So you're pretty easily able to find the track of the people who were headed to the northwest. It's not a straight path that you're taking, but you realize that they are kind of taking the easier path that sort of circles around hills and makes its way past obstacles. So you're walking, still following their trail, certain that they came this way for about an hour before you come upon the first collection of bodies. Just peasants laying in the dirt. Staring at them, at least from a first glance, it's not necessarily clear even what killed them.
Lucirosi will take a minute to try and examine the bodies. Can I do a medicine check?
Yes. Near as you can tell, it looks as if they died of exposure to the cold. But they were only out here a short while.
Are you fucking kidding me? Really?
Zarius, you don't know what the hell happened.
Apparently.
You're like, yeah, they're dead.
Guys, this is there's something wrong here. These people only recently came out here and they've already died of exposure.
But make me another survival check with advantage.
Well, they are the soft races.
Yeah, you're at this point, you see in front of you now about 20 bodies. The rest of the group, which was probably another 70 or so, seem as if they just scattered in mostly different directions. It doesn't look, they were probably fleeing, so there was no organization. You know the direction that they were going, though, and their path seems as if it was probably relatively clear. But it may have just been every man for himself once they got to this point and people died.
Do the bodies seem laid out in some kind of cone-like shape?
Did they die in different formation?
No, in fact, what you see in front of you right now, they now that you look for a specific pattern, they are laid out roughly in the shape of a pentagram. It's rough and it's pretty crudely done, but you can kind of make out a ring of bodies at the edges and then rows of bodies that more or less form a 5-pointed star inside.
So would we know what significance a pentagram has in this world?
Yeah, you would know that it's frequently used in connection with summonings. It's generally considered to be an occult symbol by the churches.
Okay.
Can we tell how long ago they died?
From your medicine checks, no. It almost looks as if these people would have had to have been outside for like a day to have died of exposure like this. It's just not necessarily cold enough to have killed them.
I think maybe we should get and sorry, I stepped away. It was my dad's birthday, and I haven't gotten to talk to him all day.
No excuse.
Really,
maybe.
it's inconsiderate of your dad to have a birthday on a day when you have D&D schedule.
He should have known. It all comes once a year. He should have known that D&D on Tuesdays.
If he wanted to reach you, he should have showed up as an NPC. So.
I can't talk, but you can dial in.
Yeah, let me send you to the link.
So these bodies, is this like they recently ran away? Is this giant group recently ran away, and we happened upon this? So these look like they've been freshly put here?
It's hard to say. It looks like they've all frozen to death from exposure, but this is almost certainly, you would hope this is the same group you saw leave the town about 2 or 3 hours before. So it doesn't seem like they could have possibly been out here long enough to have died of exposure.
I see.
Since they just left, somebody had to have arranged them in this pattern relatively recently.
Can I use my keen mind to see if I can recall any of their faces and recognize them? A keen mind ability.
You have the keen mind feat?
I do.
Then I would say you absolutely are sure these are some of the people you met initially when you were coming into or upon the town.
Okay. Well, I wonder if they actually made it to the witch.
I do not think so. After what happened here, it seems most of the people have scattered. They are likely running through the woods.
This is not good.
I think we should remove these bodies from this pentagram symbol, just in case of it. Would I know that this can this be used? I know this is probably used for summoning. From like occult symbols. Is it unreasonable to feel like, I guess, that we don't want these symbols around?
No, that's not unreasonable. But make me an Arcana check.
Yeah, that's kind of what.
It's certainly not unreasonable to just try to break it up. I mean, that's what the church would certainly do. It wouldn't let the symbol sit. You feel like if it was being used as part of some ritual, it might have been used immediately as part of some ritual, but it probably would be used within a day, like before these bodies get a little too unfresh, which may have been partly why they were flash frozen to keep them fresher longer.
So yes, I agree, T-Hole. We should break up this symbol. Unfortunately, because of the danger posed to the other residents, I think we need to move quickly. But I would like to return here to consecrate these poor souls.
I can cast Thunderwave on them and break it up.
No, please. We would like to keep their bodies intact and be respectful of the dead.
I take one of them and just from the edge, I guess, and I'll just pull them out of the circle.
So you do that.
Yeah, and I'll pull them like a ways away, prop them up near a tree.
So you pull them out, creating a noticeable gap in the circle.
Yeah, Lucirosi will do that with one or two of the bodies as well. just to be safe.
If you have diamonds, I can bring one of them back.
Unfortunately, I do not think I have such precious stones with me.
If you have a spare bag of diamonds, please give it to me.
A trifle of trifles.
I mean, this is a point when I guess I will remind one of the players has a magical gauntlet that would allow him to speak with dead.
I'm fully aware. We know what happened. We can pretty much deduce what happened.
Right.
It would be nice to have a physical description, maybe, of the person, and maybe a description of what actually happened. Maybe. Sure, they didn't just die in a pentagram formation.
Don't, I mean, isn't that normal?
Yes, please line up just like so, Yes, excellent. Coat of cold.
It is not likely. It is not likely to give us a description of whatever was summoned, if anything. Only the one who cast the spell that killed them. If this is what you wish, then I can do this, but it will take time.
In character, I'm not even asking because I don't think Lucharosi even knows about your gauntlet.
You were there when I got it.
I mean, no, actually, I wasn't. I think that was one of the sessions I wasn't there.
I thought you were there. He got it in. It was in the temple. There was a crypt with one unopened sarcophagus.
Yeah, and I had to race Hellweir for it.
It was the session where we met. I think it was the session where Kajika came in, actually.
Yep.
Right. But
Right
what
before.
I'm saying is that Lucharosi was, in the meantime, I think, trapped in the hallway with the water. Still.
There's no way you were trapped. I was trapped.
Wow.
Yeah, I think you may have been there. I'd have to check though. There was nobody was trapped in the water at that point.
Either way, Lucharosi wouldn't think to ask you, "Oh yeah, let's speak with the dead."
Zarius wouldn't do anything like that just willy nilly.
Okay.
Unwise to mess with the dead.
Yeah. Lucharosi, if he did know, would respect that decision.
Yeah, because I probably don't even wear it. I probably keep it in a bag.
Well,
Where
you
do you
know,
want to go next?
by
Or-
moving
sorry,
these
go ahead.
by moving these bodies, they can still be moved back fairly easily. Should we not set one on fire so it can be not fresh?
No, we're not desecrating these bodies. We need to be respectful of them. Besides, we if we find the thing that did this and make sure that it can't return, I think that would be effective enough.
Well, if these bodies are used in the summoning circle or in a summoning ritual later, I'm going to say I told you so. That we should have desecrated at least one of them.
I take the body that I pulled out and I hide it behind a tree. And I just take. Let's see here. Do I have a dagger? Fuck.
I wonder when, if ever, sleight of hand has been used to hide a body.
Oh yeah, I'll take my sickle and just make a very light etch into the tree so that I know that's the one that it's hidden behind.
But Lucharosi continues with Tifel and says, "Look, even if this was used for a summoning spell, there's no telling if it has already been utilized for that purpose? And if so, the danger that lies ahead of us is even greater than before. I think we need to move forward quickly and use the element of surprise to try and take out whatever it is that took the lives of these poor people.
Then we should proceed cautiously. Then let us proceed.
Indeed.
So where do you want to go from here?
In the estimated direction that they were moving, I guess. The mob.
Okay, so you continue on through this.
Well,
little
are
valley.
there any tracks or anything that seem to be significantly different from the people from the town?
Give me a survival check.
I'm so swell at these.
Yep, you sure are.
So yeah, you don't see anything that looks like it's not a typical boot or shoe print.
Okay. I'm gonna leave the survival in to the experts.
I'm proficient in survival. Can I make that check?
Yep. Anybody can.
No, that wasn't much better.
Yeah, you unlike Lucirosi, you managed to find what looks like a bear halfling footprint.
Wait, like a bear foot or like a bear
Like
claw mixed with a
like-
halfling?
Like
Like a
halfling that's barefoot.
barefoot halfling
Uh,
may have walked through here and run off to the southwest.
is that like different than the other? Is that like a different direction than everybody else?
No, there are various people scattered in pretty much in almost every direction, although mostly to the sides of the path that they were taking. Nobody continued on to the northwest, as far as you could tell, and nobody seems to have doubled back directly towards the town.
Now,
although
but
maybe they will at some point.
You just found the
is
one.
is it this? But is it?
I was just
this-
saying, because you did one better than he did, you found one additional kind of track. He found boot and shoe prints. You found boot and shoe prints and one barefoot halfling track.
But don't halflings just naturally not wear shoes?
Right. That's why it's barefoot. Halflings sometimes wear shoes or boots, but often go barefoot.
Not the good ones.
Want to be halflings?
Yeah. Unless it is purposefully mentioned to Zarius to look for something like that, he intends to just continue moving in the direction.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that Lucirosi would actually purposely look for anything like that. But as a player, I was kind of curious.
So you continue off to the northwest. You're traveling for about another hour when everyone can make a perception check.
Bum bum bum.
Oh my god. Fuck me.
So T-Hole, everyone's continuing to walk to the northwest. You vaguely see what might be a light shining from over a hill. It's faint from where you are because whatever the source of it is probably obscured by the hill, but it's not directly in your path. It's, you'd have to basically veer west at this point to get to it.
What color is it?
You imagine it might be firelight.
Okay.
But it's a pretty dim glow. It's dim enough for everyone else to apparently not have noticed.
So we're walking southwest, right?
You're walking northwest.
Northwest. So is that fire towards the north?
It's towards the west of where you are now.
Okay. So did it just turn dark?
It's been actually. It was dark shortly before the fire started in the town, so it's been dark the whole time you've been out here.
Okay. So, how many hours until sunrise?
Still quite a number. It's not quite midnight yet.
Okay.
It gets dark because it's winter. It gets dark at around 5:30 or 6.
Okay.
So you've been walking for a couple hours. It took a little while to deal with the fire. When the crowd left, it was still 2 hours of daylight left.
Okay. So I'll call out. There's a fire on the hilltop. It could still have. It's still likely that that there may be people around it.
If they are likely dead. Let us move towards the light. Be the source of the events.
We have nothing else to go on. We might as well see who might be out here. Even if it's not the enemy we seek, they might be somebody familiar with it.
So climbing the hill, as you get not even all the way to the top of it, you begin to see the top of a fire in the distance. When you get to the top, you realize it appears to be a column of flame that's maybe 20 feet tall. It's burning right next to a small cottage that is sitting out in the middle of a field of low bushes. To the east of it, you can see that there's a circle of very tall standing stones, very much like the tors of Alcator, much smaller, and sort of typical like Stonehenge style Neolithic ring of stones. You do see there's a figure that seems to be standing in front of the fire. Her arms are raised up into the air. She is still probably, though, about several hundred yards from you.
We
And
can't make out what she's saying at this point.
Everyone
If
make
anything.
a perception check.
Oh man.
I suck. You know what? This happens all the time, though. I always suck on everything, and then once we get into combat, I roll criticals like crazy.
So, Kajika and Zarius, you can't hear her saying anything in particular, but you can tell it's essentially just a form against the firelight at this point, so it looks almost black. But you can both make out that whatever this person is, it is a female, and she appears to have wings.
What kind of wings?
That's a little hard to say.
I mean,
but
they have fingered like bat wings, or straight like.
They're just large protuberances from her back.
Yeah, they're not exactly like spread out wide, or other people would notice them. But since you got a 20, you imagine they're probably more like bird wings.
I am bird woman.
Does this form seem remotely familiar?
I mean, you've probably seen people with wings before. You've seen Lucharosi when he sprouts wings.
Yeah,
my wings are kind of like that one guy from Diablo, like transparent azure energy, kind of vaguely wing shaped.
Right.
Does this lady have a beak?
Not that you can see.
Okay.
I'm going to try to move up, use stealth, and see if I can get closer.
Okay.
Lucerosi will hold back, knowing that he'll suck at that and just give you away.
Yeah, my stealth is
So-
-1.
How close do you want to get?
My stealth is at
Within
disadvantage.
musket
and 0.
range.
Okay, musket range pretty long, so you get up to about, let's say, 200 feet away from her.
Yeah, that's good.
She appears to be pale skinned. It's difficult to make out a lot of her features because she's only framed by the orange firelight. She does appear to have white or whitish wings, off-white wings, and she doesn't keep her hands in the air the whole time. She appears to be praying. Is your best guess?
So is any of this the way the stones are and the pillar of fire? Is any of this Seta Mamadoti stuff, or I can
No.
tell?
No,
No?
you're sure it's not
Okay.
related to him.
Okay, so it's probably
And the stone ring is a pretty fair distance. It's probably 150 feet away from her house.
Zarius, do you have that spell that allows you to communicate over distance? Or Tiho, perhaps you.
I just shake my head. I'm not that kind of wizard.
What's her little hut
Sort
look
of.
like?
It's a rectangular house. It appears to be mostly made of logs. It doesn't appear as though it was professionally constructed. It looks like the sort of thing you would see somebody or a family build on their own, like a log cabin.
I can send messages over vast distances. It seems excessive if we wish to communicate with Kajika.
So no message cantrip.
No.
So rarely is that cantrip useful, and here we are. At that moment.
That's my other character.
Is she saying anything?
Not that you can hear, although you do see she periodically is sort of kneeling or crouched down and then will stand up to her full height. So it seems as if it is some sort of religious ritual.
It does us no good to sit here. I will move forward.
Let's give Kajika another few moments. I'm sure that he will give us a clear signal if we are meant for combat.
So as I take a bead with my musket on her, I will signal to them to move up. Probably knowing that they will they will probably not be very stealthy. But just try to tell them to move up and like stay away from me.
All right. Are there any things that we can like dart to hide behind?
There are various bushes and not very thick trees, but there are some trees. Probably your best bet if you're trying to hide behind them, though, would be the bushes.
How big are these bushes? Are they like tall bushes or?
I mean, it's not like nobody's mowing the grass around here, so the grass itself is pretty tall, although most of it's dying. You do notice that the snow is pretty sparse in this over this particular part of the land, but the bushes are 3, sometimes 4 feet tall.
I mean, if there's a 20-foot pillar of fire, I imagine it's pretty warm around that.
Yeah. I mean, I was just confirming about the bushes because like ducking behind. There's a reason why I have disadvantage on fucking stealth.
Now, is it readily apparent that the vegetation is dying?
It's only the vegetation is mostly seemingly dead, but it's also winter.
Yeah.
So it's not like the vegetation is unnaturally dead. It's just
Okay.
brown because it's winter.
Okay. All right, so I will make my terrible disadvantaged stealth check.
As will I.
I'm going to hold my action as they move up.
Oh, a disadvantage. Son of a bitch. Was almost good.
What about T-Hole?
All right. That's good by all standards.
So as you approach, you could see the figure sort of turns its upper body and looks over in your direction.
Nobody, don't move. If you don't move, I can't see you.
Vision is based on movement.
T-Hole stand up and wave.
And she turns.
That's what Lucirosi does.
The figure turns and her wings spread wide, and she begins to fly towards you.
What, in their bird wings?
Yes, they are. You're sure they're bird wings at this distance.
As she gets closer, do I see like her face? Do I recognize her?
As she begins to fly, you see that she does seem to be wearing something akin to a breastplate. But her breastplate lights up, and you can see, as near as you could tell, she's very pale-skinned, almost white-skinned. She looks somewhat angelic, except for the fact that you can see the edges of her wings. Her wings appear to be bright white, except for the very edges that seem to turn to a dark red, almost blood-like color. And everyone can make a history check, I guess, to identify.
History.
I don't know my history.
I was going to say, Lucirosi I was going to give advantage to, but that did not help. But Zarius,
well, if it happened, I'm not saying it is, but if it happens to be another Asimar, as far as Lucirosi knows, he's never encountered another of his kind. So,
I mean, you know that they're out there. I was going to give you advantage because it is another Asimar, and even if you've never met one, you must have read about them. There must have been just enough curiosity that when the occasional story came to you, you paid attention to it. So, but not in this case. In this case, you were like, I have no clue. Maybe it's a dove person. Yeah. Maybe it's a kanku without a beak and with a human head.
That can fly.
Right.
It's broken his curse.
I was thinking it was like an Aarakocra.
Yeah, but the T-Hole and Zarius, you know, particularly Zarius, I guess, that this appears to be a fallen Asimar.
Doesn't mean he's a bad guy.
Just means that he's
probably.
Okay.
Well,
does it look like he's
T-Hole
coming at us
waved her
across the
over,
house?
so of course, Lucirosi is gonna say, we should never. I knew we should never go in with stealth, and he just stands up tall, and takes out Salasri just as a kind of preparatory move, but not meant to be necessarily aggressive.
So you take out Salasri as she flies up to you. Damn it, I just had that. Is anybody else doing anything before we...
I'm keeping a bead on her with the musket, and if looks anything hostile, I'm going to shoot her.
Yeah, at the very least, Kajika has not been given away.
Yeah, I mean, if she appears to be coming at us in a hostile manner, then I'll probably do my path to the grave.
What does that do again?
Next attack against her she is vulnerable to, so she takes double damage.
Okay, that's fair enough. She appears to only have she has a staff with her. She doesn't appear to be preparing to use it. You can also see that along her back, between her wings, she has a two-handed sword that she hasn't taken out. But as she gets closer, you can hear she's mostly muttering something. So everyone make a perception check to see if you could hear what she's saying.
Jesus Christ! I mean, I'm sorry. By Asheros! To break with any of these rolls.
I will whisper this to T-Hole and Kajika.
I heard it, and I was all the way the fuck over there.
Right.
Basically, I'm just waiting. If she goes to like take a swing at us, then doing the channel divinity on her. So I'll hold off. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt.
So you can hear her muttering. Only T-Hole and Kajika can hear specifically what she's muttering. And she appears to be repeating that over and over.
Is she being? Is she coming at us hostilely? I mean, she doesn't. She has the two-handed sword in her back, but
Right. She is coming at you. I would not say. Well, I guess give me an insight check.
Yeah, I don't need an insight check. Fuck it. Shoot. I'm shooting her.
Well, okay. Everyone roll for initiative then.
Fucking waiting around.
God damn it. Alright, let me click on my character and see if it even matters.
Make sure you see the numbers in the little bubbles and stuff before you.
I'm seeing them.
There it goes.
you know they have a little message now in the chat. They didn't have it before.
What do you mean?
Well, when I didn't click and I clicked the initiative and I didn't have my character selected.
Yeah.
It has a little red message. It says you wanted to send the result of this roll to the turn tracker, but no valid token was selected.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That's cool.
It's like, you screwed up.
You done fucked up.
So, Zarius, I assume you're waiting to talk to her.
Yeah.
Kajika, you can go ahead and make your attack.
Damn right. Boom.
So you hear a loud crack of thunder as Kajika fires his musket. And you can see a bullet buries deep into her armor, creating a pit, and there's a trickle of blood that comes pouring out of it. What will she do in response to that?
Does she seem phased?
Give me an insight check.
I'm probably going to do that.
Well, there you go.
Zarius, you notice, and Lucirosi, you notice she is very impassive. She's not angry. It's hard to say she's hostile, but she has definitely turned her attention to Kajika.
Lucirosi is gonna shout, "Kajika, stand down! We don't even know if she's an enemy."
And she raises a hand, and there's a burst of flame around Kajika. Make me a dexterity save.
Okay.
Fireball.
All right. Okay.
Oh,
Megatron Ghost Rider.
Wow. Critical fail.
So, with no emotion on her face, she raises her hand, and without a word, there is a burst of fire for 20 feet in every direction around Kajika.
So that alone gives Lucirosi confidence that this person is not responsible. Since the other thing you seem to use cold. Also, we're kind of encroaching on her home and then shooting her without even knowing her name or what she's doing here.
At least take her to dinner first before you shoot.
Right.
At least get her name. We'll get your name and like some personals before we kill you.
It's only polite.
They say chivalry's dead.
It's T-Hole's turn.
Pablo.
Well,
I'm sure T-Hole sees her point.
yes. T-Hole, well, I guess he's trying to figure out whether or not he should attack her or try to reason with her. T-Hole's not much of a reasoning type, though. So I guess he would stand forward. He would move forward. I can't. Okay. He'd move about here, and then he would shoot burning hands.
Okay.
By Asheros's light, T-Hole, we are encroaching on her space.
As he's lifting his hands, like, you just saw what happened to Kajika.
Yeah, after he shot her.
T-Hole going.
As he lifts his hand, and he will say, "Tell me why I shouldn't attack you right now."
You hear her continue to mutter that phrase over and over. And she looks impassively back at you. Like, she heard you, and you can tell she understands what you're saying, but she isn't saying anything but muttering her phrase.
What she's saying is crazy talk. She's muttering an incantation of some sorts.
I mean, now that she's closer, can we hear her?
Sure. You can hear what she's saying, although it's relatively softly spoken, is what you think of as life is a deception. The faithful have already been claimed, taken, and saved. You are ours. What you think of as life is a deception, and it just repeats over and over.
Seems very much like the mind flayer creature.
Yeah, go ahead, chat her up.
Nope. All right. So,
I have no way of cleansing one's mind.
so I guess she takes 6 damage.
6.
So this white on the map, is it snow or water?
If you mean this, it's water.
Okay.
I mean, it's partly frozen over, so there's a layer of ice, but it's water.
I mean, would I imagine the village's water is connected to this?
The village is getting its water from groundwater. So not exactly this. This is just a stream.
Okay.
So it's Lucirosi's turn.
Well, Zarius, were you holding your turn?
I don't know what to do. Zarius is unsure of how to proceed, so he will follow as everyone else does.
All right. Well, Lucia Rossi shouts, "Do not kill her, at least. She may be under a spell." And then she's in the air.
Yes. She's about 10 feet up.
All right. I no longer have my Radiant Soul ability. So
Are her wings flapping?
Yes, she has to keep moving to stay in the air.
Good to know.
So I will use my final 2nd level spell slot to cast Hold Person.
Oh, that's what I was going to do.
Not even a thing.
So, Zarius, your turn.
Okay, well. I'm gonna attempt it, I guess. Make sure I have it prepared on here. Yeah, I do. I'll go ahead and give it a shot myself. DC is 15. Hey.
Hold on just a second. Damn it. Okay, so she falls to the ground and takes a little bit of damage. Kajika, she's now prone, so you'd have disadvantage to shoot her.
Yeah. Okay, so I will.
But she's rigid.
I can get to here, right?
Yeah.
So I put up my musket and pull my pistol and get to that spot. And as the let's see here. Shooter with disadvantage. I'm gonna burn a key point. And no, I don't have 24 key points. And take patient defense as a bonus action.
Okay.
And I guess for my action, I'll just have my pistol ready again. So if she tries to get up or looks hostile, I will probably shoot her.
Okay. She can't really do anything, so she will try to make her save again. And she makes it that time. So she stands up. That's true. She basically just breaks it. She doesn't get to even stand up. End of her turn. So she is still prone.
Okay.
T-hole. You see she was frozen momentarily and fell to the ground. You heard a bit of a crack, but she then seems to break through the spell and immediately begins muttering again.
I'm gonna cast. I'm gonna shoot a firebolt at her.
Okay, you're at disadvantage because she's prone and you're not at 5 feet away. And
I'm 15 feet away.
Right.
You're not 5 feet from her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, attack rolls against prone creatures have advantage if you're 5 feet away, disadvantage because it's a ranged spell attack, so it would even out. But if otherwise, all attack rolls against a prone creature have disadvantage.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So yeah, actually, you just missed her. It just skips off the side of her breastplate and sets a small fire in a bush behind her. Doing anything else?
I'm gonna move kind of just further away here. It's kind of away from the group.
Good move.
Sorry, I skipped over Lucia Rossi there. Hit the button twice. So it's Lucia Rossi's turn.
All right, so Lucia Rossi's going to move up to her. It's not difficult terrain or anything, is it?
Nope.
And first thing he's going to do is use his attack roll to make grapple attempt.
Okay.
So I forget. Do I need to make an attack roll first with that? Or...
Nope. Just an athletics check.
Okay.
I need to check to see. I'm not sure which would be better for her. Definitely athletics. So you go to grapple her, but she on the ground grabs your arms as you come in and manages to fend you off.
Okay. Then I'm going to use my second attack to also attempt to grapple her.
Man.
Just hit her
Luckily,
already.
yeah. She continues muttering her phrase. However, she adds "no" means no after that. But still, you manage to grapple her.
Wow.
something about persistence.
And then since I'm technically taking the attack action, can I still use offhand attack with 2-weapon fighting?
Because you didn't actually attack, I'm going to say no.
Okay. All right, that's fine. That's it then.
So Kajika, she is prone, and now she has Lucia Rossi leaning over her, trying to grapple with her. She's not exactly pinned. She could, but she's probably can't stand up because she's grappled. What do you want to do?
Let's see. Which way is?
Oh wait, shouldn't it have been my turn?
Yeah. I'm sorry. It is your turn.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Also, just so you guys know, I didn't mean to grapple her while she was on the ground, but I can't really afford for her to be flying up in the air since you guys all have range attacks, but Lucia Rossi doesn't.
So he can fly, can he?
Nah, I use that ability.
Well,
That's a once per day thing.
Let's see. Yeah, I think that's a tough choice. Having a hard time deciding what I wanted to do. I think I'm probably gonna go with Blight. It's a Constitution save.
okay.
A 1/4 level spell. Jesus fucking Christ! Can I make her re-roll that somehow?
I don't let action points force a reroll
All right.
on a saving throw.
God, 41 damage. It's so nice. 2 8s and a 7 in that. Well, still half damage, so
Right.
still 20 damage, I guess. I guess it'll suffice. Yeah, just it's like this image of a reaper, basically, kind of like coming down above her, and then like moving through Lucirosi, and then entering her body and draining it of vitality.
So as this necrotic energy courses through her, Lucirosi, you can hear her. She pauses, saying, she's in the middle of saying, the chosen have already been saved, and she stops to say, my connection strengthens. And then she begins back into her phrase. However, it does look as if her skin withered a bit as she absorbed the damage from the spell. Now it's Kajika's turn.
Okay. I can probably get to her, right?
Definitely.
Okay. And I'm just going to use unarmed strike, pistol whipper.
Roll to
hit.
Fists flying around Lucirossi's face. Hey, whoa.
Yeah, I like to think he actually just pistol whips people, though, as part of his monk training.
Yeah.
He has like gun katas that he has to beat people with his guns.
Let's see. It's just one, unless I use something else.
You could use flurry of blows to get 2 more attacks and spend a Kai point.
Okay.
So wait a minute. She said that my connection grows stronger.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to spend a key point and use, so 2 more unarmed strike.
Yep.
I have a laser.
Oh, that sucked.
On the back of the shirt.
That one missed.
But that one did not.
That one hit. So you land 2 solid blows. Oh, I forgot. She's on the ground grappled, so you actually had advantage. But your second unarmed strike still missed.
Still sucked.
So you smack the gun down, hitting a rock that's right next to her head, splitting it in 2.
Yeah.
But the other 2 land solidly on her.
The rock, not your gun.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see, what does she want to do? So she closes her eyes for a second as she continues muttering, and just see something real quick.
I meant to move.
You had her go in a circle yet?
So, need to draw a circle. Let's see. Not big enough.
Whoa. She moved so far.
Yeah, that was just a mistake. He's undoing the drawing. So the area, a fairly wide area around her, begins to fill up with a cylinder of ice and snow.
Is she able to do that even though she's grappled?
Yes.
Okay.
And let's see, I believe everybody has to make me a dexterity save.
Everybody?
Everybody who's within 20 feet of her.
T-hole is 25 feet away.
Yeah, so T-hole's 25 feet away.
I'm
20.6.
Technically, you're right in her range.
All right.
The way this counts.
And Kajika, you would benefit from my +3 bonus to your save.
It's a deck save?
Yes.
Fuck me. Hey, it's not too bad, I guess.
Damn.
So everybody who makes the save, giant rock-sized boulders of ice begin to pelt you. Everybody who makes the save takes half damage.
What is the DC?
15.
Oh, hey, I just made it.
Surprise, surprise, Lucirosi doesn't. Right.
My dex save is worse than yours. And I still made it.
So 29 if you fail, 14 if you made it.
Jesus.
Does
And the entire area around this is now coated in ice. So it's difficult terrain to move through it.
So 14 if we made it?
Yeah, 14 if you made it.
Does the patient defense just last for that one turn and then it's gone?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And
Yeah,
it's
it's still
T-Hole's
the
turn.
start of your next turn.
Okay.
That wouldn't do any good.
So wait a minute. What is the damage that we take? Where is it?
Did it not show up in your box? Oh, I see. I actually have this thing.
Yeah, you take 29.
Yeah, it should have popped up, but I had this talk to yourself thing clicked so I could look something up. It's a DC 15 ice storm, and you took 6 bludgeoning and 17 cold if you failed to save.
Okay.
T-Roll's gonna move towards the house.
Okay.
About here. And then he's gonna hold his action until she breaks free of Lucirosi's grapple.
She already has.
Oh, she has? All right.
No, she still grappled. She didn't break the grapple.
Yeah.
Okay, how is she so far from Lucirosi?
She's not. I moved her accidentally, hitting Control Z to clear a drawing, but I moved her back. So
Yeah,
you should see her right next to you again.
I don't. She's right here for me.
Weird.
Yeah. If you look at my screen share, she's
I
right next to you.
am seeing your screen share. So okay, so I thought she was able to break the grapple and move away as part of whatever it is she did.
No,
Okay.
she while still grappled unleashed this spell all around her. She herself seems unaffected by it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna hold my action until she breaks Lucirosi's grapple.
So maybe refresh the page. I don't know what's going on with Roll20 that it's showing you something different.
I don't want to refresh the page because it'll take 10 minutes to load up.
So Keel's holding his action. It's Lucirosi's turn. And she is, again, still underneath you.
All right. Well, I have advantage on my attacks. So I don't want to kill her, but I certainly know the danger that she poses. So I'm going to start attacking with prayers. First attack.
That's a hit.
And then second attack.
That's a hit.
Nice.
And then I'm not going to be using any divine smites for that. You know what though? I'm hitting her, and then all of a sudden an idea comes to my head. Can I use my final action point to take another action?
Yes.
Okay. Because she mentioned the connection growing stronger, so I'm gonna spend a spell slot to cast protection from good and evil on her.
Okay. So the spell, you're sure the spell takes hold? There's not an instantaneous reaction to it, one way or another.
Okay.
Zarius, it's your turn.
I had almost forgotten that I had this spell. Is the ice gone? It was a one-time thing, right?
There is actually still substantial amounts of ice on the ground, so everything within the circle is difficult terrain.
All right. Well, that's fine. I'm going to step back anyway. So, let me confirm the range on this, though. Oh, wait.
Oh, hold on. So, sorry. Before you go on, it says one willing creature you touch. So, if it's not a willing creature, how do you want to handle it?
Well, she would not be willing.
Yeah.
So, we could make like a contested charisma check if you want.
Okay. Do you want to do that, or maybe just have her save against my spell DC?
That's fine. She can just make the save.
So my spell DC is 14. Sorry, Tony.
So yeah, it catches her.
Okay.
All right. I should have done this at the beginning. I didn't think about it before, but I'm going to cast Bane on her.
Okay.
Charisma save. 15 is the DC. Nice.
So the bane takes effect.
And that's it. There's no more saving throws. Now, though, any attack roll she makes or a saving throw that she makes, she rolls a d4 and subtracts that.
Right.
And then...
So Kajika's turn.
Okay.
Unless you're doing something else.
I got nothing else.
Even though it's difficult terrain, I can get to here, right?
Yeah, you can make it that far.
Okay. And she's still grappled
Yes.
and on the ground?
Yes.
Hell spells. Okay, so it'll be a disadvantage. Fuck it, I'm shooting her. I don't care. Yeah, disadvantage 19.
That hits her. So this time the bullet goes tearing through the side of her armor, and you can see there's a sizable amount of blood that sprays out onto the ground next to her into this ice field that she's created. And she is actually going to try to break the grapple. Because why not? Not her day. She, however, since she gets 2 attacks, she's going to try to break the grapple again. I'd let you do it twice. Why wouldn't I let her do it twice? Damn it.
All right.
She actually does not say that because she is still just muttering her little phrase. But that's her turn. So it's T-Hole's turn. that she created an oval ice storm was just bothering the hell out of me. I had to fix that.
All right, I'm refreshing this because I'm getting annoyed.
Let's see. I am 25 feet from her.
Yep.
And that's difficult terrain, which means I wouldn't be able to make it to her.
Right. It would be 40 feet of movement to get like right up to her.
Yeah. I'm going to cast Detect Magic.
Okay.
And I want to see do I sense magic within 30 feet stuff coming from her?
You don't detect anything magical on her, but you do detect something magical about the fire behind you.
So that would turn my attention, and I'm gonna go to that fire.
Okay, make me a perception check.
Hold on a second. The right one. There we go.
You can see that the fire itself doesn't seem to have any fuel in it. It just appears to be burning. On the ground beneath it, there is sketched out another pentagram.
Does it look like there's any sort of way to... So what kind of... Is this like in a dish?
No, it is actually on a flat stone on the ground. This pentagram appears to have been drawn maybe in paint, maybe blood. You're not sure what it's been drawn in. But the pentagram itself is on fire. And so the 20-foot column of fire you're seeing is really just erupting from the shape on the ground.
Okay. Can I tell what kind of magic is coming from this?
Yes, it is divination.
Ooh. My specialty. Okay. That'll be my turn.
Okay. Lucia Rossi then.
All right. I'll continue to pummel her, hopefully into unconsciousness.
Stop it.
Stop beating the lady up.
So 24 and then 23. So another 18 points of damage.
So you hit her twice again. She's looking pretty beaten up to you, but she's still conscious.
And no apparent effect or anything from the protection spell?
She still looks very impassive.
Okay.
You don't see that there's been any change in her demeanor. And she's still doing her mumbling, even between the punches.
Okay. Let's see if there's anything I can do as a bonus action. No. Okay. It's my turn.
Zarius.
Is she standing yet?
No, she's still on the ground. She can't break the grapple.
Alrighty then. I guess
The
I'll
one
do
thing Lucirosi has been good at all session, pinning down a woman.
that. Roll the dead.
Oh, the dead. She has a negative to that roll, right?
Yep. So she fails.
Does she?
Yeah.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, the D4. Yeah,
Because
totally.
even
Yeah.
if she rolls a 1, she fails. So she takes the damage. And
Perfect.
again, you hear she interrupts her, muttering to say, "A more powerful connection."
Yeah, tell me something about this necrotic damage, man.
Kajika.
I'm gonna move over here.
I will say after that, Zarius, whatever you're doing, it is making this stronger.
Good to know.
Third time's the charm.
I'm gonna hold my action and see what she does. If she begins to stand up, I'm gonna shoot her.
Okay. You can see she stops muttering and locks eyes with Lucirosi. Lucirosi, make me a wisdom save.
Ooh, fuck, dude.
I'm going to use an action point.
You can't re-roll.
Actually, Kajika can also, and Zarius can also make a wisdom save.
Can, but don't have
Yes.
It's
No, but really should.
optional wisdom saves. I like that.
I choose no.
Hell's bells.
You fucking kidding me? Come on, action point. I don't think I've ever used an action point in this game. There we go.
Sticking with 17.
Or 20. I mean,
I'm just wondering if you're using another action point. And is Kajika using an action point?
Oh, okay. I didn't know we could use action points to re-roll.
To reroll saves, yeah.
Okay. Yes. I'm not going to take that 12. It's probably not going to work. Oh, 7 won't work either. So it's my last one.
Yep.
Motherfucker.
Okay, Kajika alone, you can all feel just a terrifying presence as the divine spark within her begins to reach out into your minds. Kajika, you are frightened of her.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So that means I have to stay away from her?
If you look at right,
move.
no, not necessarily. It's there's the fear spell, but frightened is a condition. There's a condition button in the upper left-hand corner, but frightened is you have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while she's in your line of sight, and you can't move any closer towards her.
Okay. Okay. That's then that's option. Looks like we're gonna go to Plan B.
Right.
Pretty good.
shooter
But
with
you-
your eyes closed, you're pretty good at that.
Yeah, but you already had disadvantage to attack her because she's been prone most of this fight. So, and you don't really
Double
need to get that much.
disadvantage.
Yeah, you don't need to get that much closer to her with guns. So, but that's her turn, and it's T-Hole. He's staring at the fire while you people fight. He's warming his hands, near as you can tell.
over like
Classic T-hole. Classic.
over the pentagram fire. Something about this keeps me warm. I'm going to cast. Well, before I do that, I'm going to move over to the house here and open up the door.
Okay, you go over. The door is pretty rickety, but opens up. Inside, inside actually is completely dark. So without dark vision, you actually don't see anything.
I'm gonna cast light inside.
So casting light inside, you see the entire interior looks pretty busted up. It looks as if somebody went through and ransacked the place at some point. There are just scrawls of blood on the walls in various just arcane symbols. There's excrement on the floor and circles of blood here and there with other arcane symbols are pretty much everywhere. Several are covered over with newer ones. It's very difficult to unscramble what she was trying to do in here.
Do I recognize any of the symbols?
Give me an Arcana check. No, on first glance you don't.
Okay. And then I say, Kajika, you won't believe this. She's trying to summon something. Between the pentagram over there that's on fire and the symbols and the excrement on the floor, we should kill her sooner than later.
She's still grappled, right?
Yep.
So it doesn't trigger my action. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what's going to be my turn.
All right.
Lucharosi. At this point, by the way, you can tell looking down at her, she's pretty close to expiring.
Okay. So I'm going to continue pummeling her, but once again, I don't want to kill her, which is why I'm not using any divine smites or anything. So
So you hit her twice, and that is enough to knock her unconscious.
okay. So anything change as a result of her being knocked out?
Yes, the fire immediately goes out.
Okay.
Am I still frightened?
That's an interesting question. I don't know what the answer to that is. I'll say no, although it's not really something. It doesn't say fallen Asimar. It doesn't say you have to concentrate on the effect, but I'll say no.
Okay.
All right. So are we still in combat?
No, we're not.
All right. So, let's see. Of course, I don't have any rope. So I'm going to call out, does anybody have any rope so we can bind her?
I probably have some. And like T-Hole slings out his backpack and like rummages through it. And he pulls out a length of rope.
Pretty sure there's rope in an explorer's pack too. So I mean, yeah, we got rope.
So he'll throw you his length of rope.
All right. And then I'm going to bind her that up.
It is best to bind her mouth.
And we shall do that too. I cast a spell to protect her from any kind of outside control. So it may be that she was willfully doing whatever it is that she was doing.
Yeah, I mean, you would know protection from evil doesn't automatically break outside control. It gives advantage on saving throws that get made afterwards. But if she didn't get to make a saving throw,
Okay. Well, how long does that spell last?
Like 10 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, 10 minutes. So, yeah, so Lucirosi will be like, hopefully the spell, if she is under any kind of compulsion, will help assist her.
It may require a combined effort to remove any such mind-altering effects. If we could determine the root of this cause, it will be easier.
Yes, indeed
so
it would
she,
be.
unless you revive her, she will be out for some number of hours. So
I don't
you
think
have
there's any
plenty
need
of
to revive her right now.
you have plenty of time.
So once she's bound, I'll probably leave her where she is and go to examine where the fire was and the house, and talk to Kajika and T-Hole and be like, all right, so what have you guys found? T-Hole, you were mentioning something about summoning.
Yes, there was a pentagram on fire over there that just went out. And take a look inside. And he kind of like points behind him. He does the Vandal White.
Actually, I was mistaken about one thing. When you cast Detect Magic, you did detect her light spell that she cast on her breastplate. So I just forgot completely that she lit herself up. So my mistake. But looking inside, you see what I described. There's nothing akin to furniture. It is just all trashed furniture, scraps of cloth. There's shit literally on the floor, and scrawled everywhere in what looks like either red paint or blood and excrement. There are various arcane-looking symbols.
Oh, by the way, I definitely would be keeping her weapons as well. So I would have removed those from her and be holding on to them. So Lucirosi is going to turn to T-Hole and ask, have you defaced the pentagram on the stone where the fire was? Dustin,
the DM will chime in and say he has not.
I'm fading.
So he has not, but this is actually not a bad place to stop. If you want to deface the pentagram, we can end on that.
Okay.
There is still a trace of it, although it is, you can't tell what this was drawn in, as it's completely burned at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Alrighty.
All right.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
You too. See everyone next week.